Hey, Josh.
Hey, Tom.
I'm sure you have a fleet of Mac Jones questions coming at you, so I'm going to let those come from elsewhere. I had a question specific to coaching against a former team. We've seen Brian Flores have success, Mike Vrabel have success, and Matt Patricia and yourself. What is it about coaching against a former team, Patriots specifically, if you want to get into that, that helps coaches have success that we've seen in the past?
I don't know that I could pinpoint the why on that. I know that certainly there's some familiarity both ways with how things are done, in a lot of areas, but I'm not really sure that alone is enough to determine the outcome of a game. I mean, I think whenever we've competed against somebody who's left here, there is some familiarity, obviously, but I think in those games individually, we've coached against Matt, and they beat us, back in 18, coached against Mike, they got us, I think in 19 and 18, and Flo's beaten us a couple of times too. So, I mean, I think how we perform in the game and how we coach and how well we do that week and that day really is the thing that determines the outcome. I was in that same position, and I wouldn't say that I felt like, wow, coming from here, I know all the answers and all the rest of it, because that's not true. This team always does things that you don't anticipate. They have a weekly plan for the opponent that they're getting ready to play, and you're never sure what that's going to be. And so I can tell you just from my own experience that I don't really think that had anything to do with the outcome necessarily. I think it was a close game and we competed hard, and that's how that fell. So I don't know. Maybe there's somebody smarter than me that knows why exactly. That may have been the case in a handful of situations, but I don't think that alone gives you an advantage that is insurmountable.
All right, I appreciate it. I'll come up with something.
Next question, Mike Fiordi, followed by Tara Solomon.
Afternoon, Josh.
Good afternoon.
I wanted to ask you a question about Mac. In the post game, he took it pretty hard. He said, "I think being the quarterback, I need to do a better job." I'm reading the quote here, demanding better in practice. Sometimes I just let things slide, myself included. That's not good enough. So I'm going to try and be more vocal. I'm a vocal person, but it's a new situation. I can be better. In your 4.5 months, 5 months with Mac, has he been vocal enough? And is he being too hard on himself there about demanding more in practice?
If that's how he feels, I don't want to speak for him. But I think as a young player, you earn that right, to do that with your teammates. And you earn it through repeated performance, preparation, and production, and so, I think he's a very competitive guy. He wants to win at everything that he's doing. He wants to perform his best every single day on every single rep. I think that's a great trait and a great quality to have, not only as a football player, but as a human being. We're fortunate that he feels that way. I think relative to, pushing himself and demanding the most from himself, I think that's obviously the number one way to lead. You show everybody else that you're going to hold yourself to a very high standard, and then you're going to try to bring others along if you see the opportunity to do so. And I think he's a young guy. It's his first year. It's his first regular season game, and I think he probably wants to improve in a lot of things, which he has room for growth and improvement as not only as a football player, but as a guy who's a leader, in the offensive huddle, a guy that has, certainly a lot of say in terms of, how we're going to play. And so I think each of it probably was, speaking about motivating our group, specifically when he's with them, to just get the maximum amount out of everybody in whatever we're talking about, a walkthrough, a practice, a game, a quarter, a series, a drive, a play. So I'm eager to continue to work with him in every area. And I'm, like I said, I'm excited that he, certainly wasn't happy with the outcome the other day and is looking forward to preparing hard for the Jets.
Thanks, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Next question, Tara Sullivan, followed by Phil Perry.
Thanks, Stacy. Hi, Josh. I'll follow up with another Mac question. And in fact, I was going to read that exact same quote. So maybe just, give us a little bit of your thumbnail, what you felt about Mac coming out of the game, what was good, what needed the most work. And I would love to know if you had any thought on him not wanting or not taking that football, which got a lot of play.
The football, I don't really know where that football is or what have you. I know he's certainly not absorbed in selfish things or self-promotion. So I think it's more about the team and how he can help the team and how he can play better. So I don't know what happened with that, but I know that's his attitude and mindset. Yeah, I think, look, there's no young player that's ever played in their first NFL game that didn't come out of the game and say, okay, wow, there's a lot of things that I can really learn moving forward that I hadn't experienced before. And so I thought that there was some positives to his play. But at the same time, I think he knows that there's a few decisions that he made and, a couple of reads and a few throws and, there's, I don't know and there's not many quarterbacks that play the game in the NFL that come out and say, man, I had a perfect game. So there was some positives in the game for sure. Some things he learned, some things that he did well. And then I think there's also some things that now he's seen them. He's seen some things different in the game. Certainly the speed of the game in the regular season is different than the preseason. He'll adapt to that. And then he'll continue to improve his communication, his ability to see things quickly, and the decisions that he makes hopefully will improve along the way as well.
And we'll try to take two final questions here. Phil Perry and Evan Lazar.
Hey, Josh, understanding it wasn't perfect for Mac. How did you feel about his communication specifically just right at the line of scrimmage before the snap? Because it seemed like, in the Dolphins under Flores have been pretty aggressive. It seemed like they were pretty aggressive in terms of the number of guys they brought at times, bringing guys from different places. How did you feel like he handled that aspect of it, just understanding what he was seeing? And it seemed like he was getting the ball out relatively quickly.
Yeah, I thought they certainly challenged us with a lot of different looks and pressures, and that's to be expected. And I thought Mac handled most of that very well. His communication, I thought, was clear, was consistent. He was loud. I always tell rookies or young players, if you're not 100% sure, it's not okay to be quiet. I'd rather them be loud and wrong than silent and then nobody knows what's going on. So he's always done a good job in that regard. And I would expect that he continue to do so. But yeah, it's no secret that our quarterback does a significant amount of communicating along with our center and the rest of our skill players. So that's part of his job. He's embraced that since he got here. And I thought he tried to handle that, as well as he could on Sunday, with obviously room to grow, room to improve. And we're looking forward to doing that this week on the road.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Last question, Evan Lazar.
Hey, Josh, I also wanted to ask you a question about Mac, and just at this stage, how much would you say freedom he has at the line of scrimmage to get you guys into the right play? Maybe the defense coverage or front or whatever is showing you one thing and you got something else called. Does he have that freedom now to be able to check it out of something and get into something better?
Yeah, I mean, our system's really been pretty much the same for a long time in terms of trying to provide, let's just say, quality answers or give our offense an opportunity to run a play that has a chance to succeed. Hopefully we do a good job of that in the planning process so that the quarterback doesn't have to do that as much. We've always tried to do that. It doesn't always work that way. And obviously there's exceptional coaches and players on the other side that make that difficult sometimes. But, he can, he's a young guy that's learning and hopefully will continue to improve and has a lot of room to grow. And we'll just try to make sure that he's doing things that he is comfortable doing, and that he knows how to do well. And so that is an ongoing process for young players. I would say it's an ongoing process for most every player, but especially the young players. What do they do well? What do they have confidence in? And then hopefully you make the decisions based on your plan that give them an opportunity to run the most of those that they can in a single Sunday. So there's certain things that he could do and certain things that he's not ready to do. And hopefully we make the right choices each week based on what, the opponent does, how they play, and what we need to be able to do at the line of scrimmage as well. But he'll continue to learn and grow in that area also.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.